Perubahan yang berjalan pesat pada era teknologi modern saat ini mendorong tumbuhnya inovasi yang seolah tak terbatas. Universitas Kristen Duta Wacana menjadikan perubahan tersebut sebagai tantangan yang harus dihadapi bersama. Oleh karenanya, diperlukan kolaborasi yang sinergis dengan berpijak pada nilai-nilai Duta Wacana untuk menjadikan Universitas Kristen Duta Wacana semakin unggul dan tangguh.
Inklusif berarti aksesibilitas bagi lebih banyak orang. Inklusif berarti penghormatan pada hak asasi manusia. Inklusif berarti perayaan aktualisasi diri bagi setiap individu. Selangkah demi selangkah, komitmen pada inklusif dan aksesibilitas ditunjukkan dengan kolaborasi multidisiplin oleh seluruh sivitas akademika UKDW, baik dosen dan mahasiswa, bekerja sama dengan para mitra industri, pemerintah, LSM, dan masyarakat. Saat ini perhatian bahkan juga ditunjukkan dalam rintisan layanan disabilitas kampus dan pusat studi.
Penyediaan rumah ibadah bagi Islam, Kristen, dan Hindu merupakan komitmen UKDW untuk inklusivitas beribadah. Interaksi sosial antar mahasiswa di dalam kampus merupakan ruang dialog yang memungkinkan inklusivitas beragama terjadi.
Saya bersyukur menjadi bagian dari keluarga UKDW. UKDW menjadi tempat bagi saya untuk tidak hanya menjadi pintar, tetapi juga mampu mengolah rasa, menerima keberagaman, dan merayakannya bersama-sama.
Perubahan yang berjalan pesat pada era teknologi modern saat ini mendorong tumbuhnya inovasi yang seolah tak terbatas. Universitas Kristen Duta Wacana menjadikan perubahan tersebut sebagai tantangan yang harus dihadapi bersama. Oleh karenanya, diperlukan kolaborasi yang sinergis dengan berpijak pada nilai-nilai Duta Wacana untuk menjadikan Universitas Kristen Duta Wacana semakin unggul dan tangguh.
Inklusif berarti aksesibilitas bagi lebih banyak orang. Inklusif berarti penghormatan pada hak asasi manusia. Inklusif berarti perayaan aktualisasi diri bagi setiap individu. Selangkah demi selangkah, Komitmen pada inklusif dan aksesibilitas ditunjukkan dengan kolaborasi multidisiplin oleh seluruh sivitas akademika UKDW, baik dosen dan mahasiswa, bekerja sama dengan para mitra industri, pemerintah, LSM, dan masyarakat. Saat ini, perhatian bahkan juga ditunjukkan dalam rintisan layanan disabilitas kampus dan pusat studi.
Penyediaan rumah ibadah bagi Islam, Kristen, dan Hindu merupakan komitmen UKDW untuk inklusivitas beribadah. Interaksi sosial antar mahasiswa di dalam kampus merupakan ruang dialog yang memungkinkan inklusivitas beragama terjadi.
Saya bersyukur menjadi bagian dari keluarga UKDW. UKDW menjadi tempat bagi saya untuk tidak hanya menjadi pintar, tetapi juga mampu mengolah rasa, menerima keberagaman, dan merayakannya bersama-sama.
Perubahan yang berjalan pesat pada era teknologi modern saat ini mendorong tumbuhnya inovasi yang seolah tak terbatas. Universitas Kristen Duta Wacana menjadikan perubahan tersebut sebagai tantangan yang harus dihadapi bersama. Oleh karenanya, diperlukan kolaborasi yang sinergis dengan berpijak pada nilai-nilai Duta Wacana untuk menjadikan Universitas Kristen Duta Wacana semakin unggul dan tangguh.
Inklusif berarti aksesibilitas bagi lebih banyak orang. Inklusif berarti penghormatan pada hak asasi manusia. Inklusif berarti perayaan aktualisasi diri bagi setiap individu. Selangkah demi selangkah, komitmen pada inklusif dan aksesibilitas ditunjukkan dengan kolaborasi multidisiplin oleh seluruh sivitas akademika UKDW, baik dosen dan mahasiswa, bekerja sama dengan para mitra industri, pemerintah, LSM, dan masyarakat. Saat ini, perhatian bahkan juga ditunjukkan dalam rintisan layanan disabilitas kampus dan pusat studi.
Penyediaan rumah ibadah bagi Islam, Kristen, dan Hindu merupakan komitmen UKDW untuk inklusivitas beribadah. Interaksi sosial antar mahasiswa di dalam kampus merupakan ruang dialog yang memungkinkan inklusivitas beragama terjadi.
Saya bersyukur menjadi bagian dari keluarga UKDW. UKDW menjadi tempat bagi saya untuk tidak hanya menjadi pintar, tetapi juga mampu mengolah rasa, menerima keberagaman, dan merayakannya bersama-sama.
Morning, everyone. Good morning. Yes, we're so happy today to welcome you all here to this special design talk. And I welcome you, Bu Imelda Irnawati Damanik, the Dean of Architecture and Design Faculty, and also Bu Inta Tridato Satwika Santi, the Head of Product Design Department, and Mr. Francois Dabin from Institute Hanse Indonesia, Yogyakarta, and Bu Surya and Pak Jindi Chua from Kuskus Gallery, and Miss Helen Ovwa from ADIR program. Yeah. And last but not least, our special speakers, Clemens and Geoffrey from Marcel Poulain Studio. And to all the friends and students, welcome. Okay, so before we start, I have to explain a bit about the safeguarding to promote our safety and comfort here. First of all, we have 2 restrooms on the right side and the left side of the seminar room. And while we do not expect any earthquake or volcanic eruption, but in case of force majeure events, please do not take the elevator, but to take the stairs. We have 2 main stairs in front of the seminar room. And please head to the main gate as the meeting point. Okay, let's jump into the talk. So today's design talk, Threading Design Narratives, Echoing Tradition Towards Timeless Design, is one of a series of events as part of the Artist Designer in Residence program hosted by Kuskus Gallery with the generous support of the Institut Français in Paris, the French Embassy, and the Institut Français Indonesia and Kuskus Bali. We are so delighted to have with us today Mr. Francois Dabin as the Director of EV Yogyakarta, and thank you for joining us. So, this ADR program brings together French design and the richness of Balinese culture and crafts. This residency invites French designers to immerse themselves in Balinese culture for 1 month, and during which they explore natural local materials and learn about traditional know-how directly from Balinese artisans. And before creating a collection of a sensitive response to their residency experience to be later on showcased in exhibitions in France and Indonesia. So we're so happy to be back with the ADIR again this year, because we have just have these events too last year. So we're very happy to have you here, Clemens Plumet and Geoffrey Pascal from Marcel Poulain Studio, because they have just completed their 1 month residency in Bali, and now they're going to on a road show, and they will share with us about their practice as a designer. And before we start our discussion, I would like to welcome Bu Imelda as the Dean of Architecture and Design Faculty to give her welcoming remarks. Yes.
The student keep coming, enter the room. Ya, harus pakai kerepekan ya. Thank you, Hana and Bu Winta. Good morning, everyone. Semangat dong. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, it's a great pleasure for us to welcoming all the guests to our campus, Duta Wacana Christian University. Yeah, the student keep coming. Ya, kita nggak punya pintu belakang ta? Nggak punya pintu belakang ta ini? Ada ta? Is it okay for them to enter the room from? Soalnya konsentrasi saya pendek, Bu, jadi suka terganggu. Apa podium? Ana lah. Iya sih. question. So if everybody keep coming, and then my brain will stop for a minute. Pakai ini. Yeah, I would like to express my to Kras Galeri Bali, ya, Ibu Surya, Pak Jendi, bener Pak saya manggilnya Pak Jendi, and then Miss Helen, where is Miss Helen? Thank you. And then this is the hard part for me to spell, Institute France Indonesia, yeah. And then I talked to Franco that in my master degree I have guest lecturer, and then when I spell his name, and then I spell it for the female, Frank with S at the end. So I make sure to Franco. What should I spell your name? How should I spell your name? Thank you for coming to our campus. You trust in us, and then we will collaborate more than we have been for 3 years. And especially for all the guests, I think not all of them is from our campus, ya. Teman-teman dari sesama organisasi yang ada di Yogyakarta, selamat datang di acara ini, dan spesial terkhusus untuk students and lecturer of product design Duta Wacana. This morning, this is maybe another great opportunity if we only think about as usual business, but I think this is another golden moment for us to remember that design is not only about art, aesthetic, beautiful, relaxing our mental health on anything, but design also solution, learning from our culture, defining who we are, the real of the seed of beautiful things in our soul. I think Clemens and Jeffrey will talk about that, share about their experience, how they learn from maybe a foreigner, from the local people. When you come to Bali, to Indonesia, you have a different spectacles, this different perspective. You used to see all the things, differently. If I and both of you go to the one place and then we observe something, so the list of mine will be different with the list of yours. That's why we need to collaborate, because the value has the same states to our mental health, to our soul, to our knowledge, but the value have a different kind of perspective. So we need to learn from another how we call it, not about the country, but another perspective, and then we talk about the same thing. Maybe all of us already have been go to Bali, and then thank you for the set of the postcard, Ibu Surya show me one of the postcard is mention about you quote the Bapak siapa tadi Bu? Pak Sadra talk about belief, maybe spiritual things, and then you put it. It means something to you. It touch your deeper heart, So teman-teman semua, mari belajar dari hal-hal mungkin sepele kalau kita lihat karena kita orang Indonesia. Tapi nanti Jeffrey dan Clemens akan memberikan perspektif yang lain, sehingga kita akan lebih menghargai apa yang kita punya. Kalau terkhusus this is for the lecture. I think this is not only the collaboration from one organization, institution, from France and from Indonesia, Ibu Surya from the art gallery. It's not about that, but maybe we can push it more wider. We talk about our accreditation, maybe we talk about our curriculum, how we need to join the practical things in the practical world about the design. What should we improve about the basic knowledge of design? How we make it to be upper level, to be what we call it manufacture, hak paten bahasa Inggrisnya apa Bu? Copyright, copyright and things. So we need to push this meeting more than collaboration, exchange information, learning from each other. We need to push it because industrial practitioner is a part of our pentahelix educations. Penta means 5, so we need to collaborate 5 elements of our national institution to put the best grade of education. This is hard, and one of the pentahelix is you. So I need Bu Winta, Bu Krismastuti, Pak Tata at the behind, dig all the resource that we need to improve our curriculum. So Ibu Surya, thank you for trusting us again ya. Walaupun nanti akan ada perubahan-perubahan partner, saya pikir kami akan tetap berpartner dengan Ibu. Jadi kita saling menanamkan jangkar satu dengan lain Ibu, sehingga no matter what happen, we will still collaborate because Jogja and Bali have the same red lines of art, same red lines of aesthetic, maybe culture and value, and maybe what we call it daily life, maybe also have the same things. So let's enjoy our golden moment. This is a time for us to recreate opportunity, to open new development, and then we work together and we also walk together to reach our aims, our goals. Duta Wacana have their own goals, Ibu from the gallery also have, and Franqua also have our own goals, but I think somehow we still can walk and work together to reach all of that. So I hope all of us will get a very fruitful experience, discussions, new spirit, and also recharge our soul about the art, about the maybe art, product, value, and many things. So that's all for me. Now I leave the rest to Bu Winta, Hana, dan all of you guys from Duta Wacana dan tamu-tamu dari luar Duta Wacana. And then I will send my nyuwun pangapunten nggih. Karena I need to go to my studio now because I still have about 10 students to 101 personal assistants, because today, this week, I think this is the last meeting class of our semester. So thank you very much. Enjoy the discussion, and God bless us all. Bu Winta, Hana, dan Bapak Ibu semua, the floor now is yours, and please give us the new spirit, new perspective, and then bagaimana ngomongnya mengimpact mereka, give them inspiration. Thank you, God bless.
Okay, thank you very much, Bu Imelda, for the welcoming remarks. So before we give the floor to Clemens and Geoffrey, I would like to inform you and remind you that There will be a Q&A session afterwards, so you better be preparing some questions for them. Okay, let's give applause to Clemens and Geoffrey.
Hello everyone.
Hello. Thank you for welcoming us here.
Yeah, and thank you for the introduction. We're gonna first give you an introduction of our work and then our research in Bali for 1 month. And then in the end we will display the video showcasing our residency program. So we can start with the presentation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Il faut que j'aille où? C'est là-bas? Yes. Ah. Mais c'est ce que je fais toujours.
Okay.
So first of all, we want to explain you the name of our studio because it's not coming out from nowhere. So we are very attached to the heritage, and we decided to use the name of our mothers to combine and create the name of our studio, because in France, usually when a woman gets married, she is taking the name of her husband, the family name. And the husband also gives the family name to the children. So these names of mothers are getting lost, and we really wanted to make something out of it. So this is both the combination of my mother's name and Geoffrey's mother's name.
And it creates a character that we take from project to project. Right. So we go, this is kind of the whole set we will present to you today. We go briefly towards the first project we did separately, and then we will jump into project we did in collaboration and our residency program. So we start with graduation projects. So we both met at the Design Academy of Eindhoven in the Netherlands. We were studying there, me until 2018 and Clemens until 2019. This is my project of graduation, as I say. It's called Grapheophobia. It's inspired by the people who are afraid to work on a desk and that prefer to be working inside of their bed. So this comes from a personal perspective that I'm really stressed when I have to be confronted to a desk, and that actually you find more comfort and more safety when you're inside of your bed, lying down in your little cocoon. This also was like, we always go for researches, and here I was also inspired by some pictures of Hugh Hefner, the head of Playboy magazine, that has like this very strong circular bed, and that he used as a platform to work on. But also on articles from different magazines. We also try to look for inspiration inside of like art design magazine. And so there was this article about like a series of interviews about people who enjoy to work in their bed. And as also a complementary information, I also try to study on NASA study for the best posture, as when they needed to ship people to space and they didn't really know what was the best position. They did some tests to study what was the body best posture to not get tired and be able to survive the long trips. The picture you can see on the bottom right. Okay, so at the beginning I started to work inside. This is some slides that are really ugly, I'm sorry. They are like from past presentation, and so the quality is not amazing. But you can see me in different postures. So the the turning point of this project was when I started to collaborate with companies, actually. I contacted this company that used to produce foam for mattress, for beds, and they agreed to give me a lot of extra samples of foam, and I started to play with it. One of the turning point was, I would say, the C2 case that now changed. But this was like the really strong turning point. I tried to document also this work, tried to also take picture of myself, see what was the best. I also invite people to test the furniture from time to time. You can see Clémence on the top line, trying the basic back posture, and I just play around. I thought it was the best way actually to design furniture and to do something that was not expected. So I was inspired first by like a few postures you could adapt inside of your bed, and I tried to modify it to make a functional and working furniture program collection. All right, and here is the end result. So it came to a series of 3 different desks. 3 different furniture. I gave them like also like names, so you could really like personalize them. The first one in front was the one that is actually the posture you adopt the most in bed, so you're like sitting down, a bit half lying. And this one was the one you could use for long time process. I also like try to sort of places to store some little books or stuff like this. You can see on the left, and also like different posture where you're lying down over your books, or you're also like sitting down on the side, a bit in an antique posture inspired by Greek. And this project was like quite of a highlight in my first career as independent designer, and it was still now ongoing, quite spread on trends research. We go also like for experiences, so we'll be quite brief, but I've been working afterwards with a studio in Rotterdam doing design for, let's say, collectible pieces. So which was a very good experimentation, because everything was made in a small scale. So it was really like precious pieces that we had to do on ourselves and try to find the right tools to make those pieces. And then after COVID, we had to come back to France, and I started working for architecture company, as I was always very inspired by architecture, but I never wanted to study architecture because it was too much for me. So I worked for architecture company without being an architect, and bit by bit be accepted by those architects by first my passion for model making, which I developed also there. And also like actually the interesting point to work with architects is that they produce they need a lot of design inside of their space, and they always like to be to push their architecture through to the last details of their design. So it was not only like when we had the opportunity to design actually a lot of pieces for different purpose, from door handle to bench to elevators and things like this, which was very impressive and exciting too.
I started my studies with textile and materials. So this was, for example, the kind of exploration I would do, settling some subjects for myself and trying to find answers through fibers and textile and material research. And then as a graduation project, I met both my interest for material and also my interest for ancient objects, because I think there are some very nice craft preserved within the object legacy. So for example, this is a box from the 20th century in Italy with a technique that is now gone. We still have it in France. It's called straw marquetry, but there it faded away, so it's you cannot find it anymore. And I looked into the heritage of this technique into the industry today, and I actually developed a material that you can see on the left, which is similar to this technique, but in a 3D way. So it's a way to assemble wood and to stack them in order to create a pattern. And the beauty of it is that coming out from the process, you can actually feel that there is a layering process that you cannot feel in the 2D technique of the craft. And I decided to make an object out of it to show this beautiful side of the material, so that you could see both the outcome but also understand how it's made. Then I worked for some studios. For us, it was really important from the beginning to make experience before starting our companies. I have to be honest that I always wanted to have my own company, but I think first you have to observe what people do and to gain from it and also be more confident in your work. So this was some examples of what I did. So I was making pattern and also studying textile research for any kind of thing. So for interior design, could be the screen on the left or the carpet or the wallpapers on the right. Oh. Yeah, thank you. And also I was following the production of textiles. So this gave me a very good understanding of textile industry. This was in Italy. I was working in Milan, and then I came to Paris to work for another studio in which I was also in charge of a textile and material library. And both of these experiences actually very feed our studio, because we had a better understanding of making projects, and also we got the opportunity to work on very luxury projects with big companies and to have a better insight of how things are working. And so then we meet on our own studio. So it started with a competition that we participated to.
So in 2020 we applied to a competition, both of us, which was called the Design Parade Toulon. It's an interior architecture competition. We studied design, let's say, but we always very like to work for interior project, and it was also like a good excuse to design more pieces than to apply for only a design object competition, because we would have to think in sort of collection, and it was great to have to be able to spread our vibe all over a room. We had different inspiration because the project was placed in the south, and you have to be answering this vibe of the south. And for us, the south is only holidays and fantasy, let's say. And we were quite inspired by movies, such as the movie La Piscine by Jacques Deray, which is a very strong movie in terms of spirituality, I would say, of the south, where four characters meet in this beautiful villa around the swimming pool. That is one of the swimming pool is one of the main character actually of the movie, and there is a lot of reference to very nice design, to some sort of spirit and to some sort of sensuality that we try to then infuse in our design. We were also inspired by pictures from Slim Aaron, another very strong influence on our project. He's a photographer that studies high society that was going to those holidays. It's always a bit over the top, but we always find it amusing and interesting, also inspiring, because of the play of color, play of shape, and yeah, again this vibe that we try to translate again about the South. We were looking for all sort of references. We like this image of this pool bar, which was kind of one of the key elements to design this space. So to have this swimming pool that is also a bar, and we also find inspiration. There is also this slide with the movie of James Bond. Which one is it? The Goldfinger, with this amazing swimsuit. So there is a bit of this humor that we like, and since it was the first project we worked together with Clémence, and we're also like partner in life, our objective was to make something that we don't fight, that is not becoming a a problematic thing. So we wanted to have like fun also while doing this project, and this desire of having fun and be playful was one of the key elements, I think, that really pushed our collaboration and made it healthy. Yes.
We got inspiration also from a very famous design period of the 60s. For example, in the left you have a designer that made the first inflatable furniture collection in 67. And it was called Khazar Khan, and we really loved this idea of having the infusion of mattresses and pool items that you usually have on the water. So for example, since the budget was very low for this project, we had to be very creative. We founded these ancient chairs that were also from a designer from the 60s. And we wanted to change the foam into something that would look like you have pressed a mattress on the sofa. So in the bottom part, you have the end result on the right. And we wanted to implement also any kind of things that would remind you the pool. So for example, the ladders that you use to get in the pool, that in France are in metal, that you cannot rust. And we also wanted to work on the fabrics. So for example, we made this little game on the right that is made out of sponge textile. So we just really wanted to implement any kind of code from the swimming pool to nourish the project.
As Clément said, there were like a very short budget. So since it's a project that is also like really highlighted by press, we were also quite able to contact companies again. And with our background, this company trusts us to give us like a lot of materials. Also like craftsmen were also like interested to work with us. It was very a strong experience for us, and very enriching, to develop the project. And then at the end of this project, we won the prize, but this will come a bit later, I think.
Occasion of displaying it again, and we took the opportunity then to show what we could do in window shop, because we wanted to open this door for our studio as well of making scenography settings. And we also had the occasion of working on a scent. For us, it's really important so we are a design studio, but we think about all the details that can bring you into an atmosphere. That's why we also want most of the time to make the scenography around our design, because for us, it's a way to create an experience.
So we create this scent, but we also like come often with playlist of songs, and we try to give all sort of sensory effect on people when they enter the room. So we give kind of this. We use music to create this kind of movie vibe, and also the scent to transport you to another place. So as I said, after this project, we won a prize from this competition that we showed before. There was this prize by the Mobilier National, and we got this prize. And we can go to the next slide. We work with the Mobilier National, which is a big institution in France, and that is actually the institution that takes care of the furniture for president. It was created in the 17th century for kings at first place, because it was such a struggle and a workload to transport the furniture of the kings from from castle to castle, that actually they had to create an institution to do that for them, and that this institution still exists and now take care of all the furniture for the embassy, the president, all the ministers, and it promotes French design, but also like preserve it, restore the pieces, and make sure that the French history of furniture goes on.
Actually, they wanted to create this company in order to be sure that the craft wouldn't die. So in order to they give formation now to young generations, passing by the knowledge, because for them it's very important that this furniture that they have, people know how to restore them. So this is really something that they put money, of course, but also energy in.
As you can see, I mean, from the slide before, there is a lot of furniture, and often they have to be stored and safely stored. So they use box and cases to do so. And we were quite inspired by those cases. But first I will explain the picture on the left. As I say, the furniture is used for people from the government. And actually, a lot of them always have like to work in very high load projects where they don't have always the right time to rest. And actually those furniture that are displayed in their office is sometimes the only comfortable thing that they have. So we were quite inspired by this minister here, the picture of this minister having a break on this couch. And for this we wanted to offer a moment of comfort to ministers as well when they have to work a lot.
And since we always like to have a touch of humor, we also really like this project on the right that was made from a Dutch woman, Yvonne Droge-Wendel, and she married her cabinet. So she was making a study on how you could rely to things and get attached to objects, and she was really studying the relation we have with furniture and the way that we are too far from them, and maybe this is a way to see sustainability of bringing actually more relation between human and object. So she married a cabinet and then she took it to a honeymoon. And we found it very funny because actually she got so much trouble explaining why she was traveling in and out with this furniture to the airport. So it's a very nice project if you want to check in.
This is another example. In France there is this famous brand called Louis Vuitton. Very famous for his suitcase, and actually there is a lot of different suitcases, and one of them is also a type of bed. So the case opened and deployed itself to become a bed. Here, as you can see, the whole process of actually the grandson of grandson, maybe more than this, of Louis Vuitton, actually using this bed in the forest, which was also a strong inspiration for us. We also we look also for inspiration in museum, and when we went to Italy, we saw this exhibition curated by Wes Anderson and his wife, and they were like those objects of ancient objects, like this relic, and we really love the fact that the case of the relic are as beautiful as the object that is inside, and there is a strong relationship in between what's the content and what is contained inside of this object. And this was also a key element for the development of Terence.
These are a lot of slides of research, because for us it's taking a lot of time to actually figure what we want to do, and we draw of course some things, but we also nourish a lot our research with references. And then we turn into the design points. So what we thought was to make something for this institution that basically moved the furniture. So we wanted to take a furniture that was really hard to take and to move usually, so we took a sofa. And then we wanted to work on this idea of a container having the shape of what's contained. And we designed a kind of sofa trunk, so a sofa that you can actually carry.
So we needed to think actually strongly of how the object was when it's in the shape of a trunk, in the shape of a sofa. So it was really like a work in both direction to think it close and open. Here you can see how it deployed. So the legs were on the bottom, the slide. The top part goes to the side of the trunk. And then there is a little top part that folds actually to not bump into the head, and then the pillows can be deployed. The pillows are inside. When it's transported, you will see in the next slide how they are folded and implemented. We had so we work with the Mobilier National with with the ARC, which is the atelier of the workshop that is related to the Mobilier National, and that has a very high-end craftsmen, and that we had also had a budget, but we also had like their knowledge, and we had to deal in between the budget that was given to us and the high end of those craftsmen, and we knew that we could challenge them. And actually, they never, even though it looks quite crazy at first case, they trust us in a way, and they were like willing to challenge the pieces, and which was quite a good relief, because we thought they would take us for madmen. But in the end, they went through. We studied the thing together, so we have been going back and forth quite a lot. Like those 3D that I showed you before is a lot of like also like files that we have been sending back and forth to each other to understand how the thing was working. We had a lot of meetings with them as well. We were organizing meetings every week at least, so we were coming there at 8 and try to debrief and test the furniture over and over. And we resolved this challenge of doing a furniture in a very short amount of time with them.
So there you can see actually the layering process of the foam inside. So it's not foam actually, we really wanted to work with natural materials, so the case is done in wood so that it could get nice quality over time even with scratch, and also get restored easily. And the inside is made with, you will see later on some slides about the inner material that is French wool. So this is the company we worked with to make the mattress, because we really wanted a furniture that would last over time. The goal of this institution is to preserve furniture for centuries, means this piece will actually be more living than us. It will probably like survive us. And we wanted to have something that you could still restore. So for example, the wool that you put inside, instead of using synthetic material, you can actually reshape it when you open the mattress, and then it's again going for 100 years. So it's actually really nice also and sustainable approach. And so this was the outcome when you actually carry the furniture, and then you can see how it's opened. So we wanted all the details to be actually useful for the closing and the opening, means that we wanted this kind of system only using textile and wood that you could have when the furniture is closed, but also would be useful when the furniture is open, so that you don't have any decorative things that are actually no function.
We try to have like pieces that are separated and that can assemble through, yes, as Clément said, textile and wood. The reason why we do this is also like for this restoration, and also to fix actually at very local point in the furniture. So instead of changing the entire furniture, people could just change a little piece or just like polish it and renew it. It's also the same with actually the case. We use a specific type of wood in the right thickness, and also like we find the right finishing so it could get patinated. So even with time, with a bit of usage, we still keep its charm and make sure that it goes on and keeps its identity and its quality.
And the last step of this project was to design the fabric. So we were really inspired by this promenade with the furniture that we wanted to also convey through the pattern. So we made this pattern related to fields that you would cross, and then you can see the declination of colors that we did for this project.
Because in the end, this sofa was only meant to be for the Mobilier National, but we could also approach company to edit it. And we find actually the company that helped us to do the mattress inside actually agreed on editing this piece. So now it's available on the market, and they also like developed the different colors that could fit the couch.
Then we had to display, since we won a project with this sofa, and then we had to display it in the same competition in France that we made the year before, but as a guest. So we wanted to tell the story of this palace, inspired by movie again.
This time it's a movie from Visconti, Il Gattopardo, which showcase beautiful villas in the south of Italy. and that have like this very warm vibes. This also like this very generous design, a lot of details in a lot of different places, and so we capture some of the elements that we like, that we thought was the essence of what we wanted to create in this space, and developed it. We are also like looking for reference in paintings, in ancient painting, because since we were working with the Mobilier National, we needed to have something that not only echoes now or 10 years ago, but also like something that is a bit older than this. And we're also like wondering what does happen to space, like in this castle in the king's time, when the castle were not used, what would happen to the stuff that stay inside. So we like those image of like elements that are covered by a veil and are actually sleeping. I think the next slide will be also like, oh no, we skip one slide.
We had also to work with the institution, and we wanted to show some pieces that they have in their collection but they never show. For example, the tapestry on the left is actually something placed in an embassy and people can never see it. It's a drawing from Jean-Picard Ledoux, and we had the authorization to reproduce it for this scenography. And since we also had a curation work, we wanted to select this kind of furniture that are also in this mindset of folding. So this was, for example, one of the stools that we had in the scenography. And this is a bit a step of how we actually pass from research to developing a project. So we are really inspired by our traveling sessions. So in the left you have Portugal, which is a country in Europe, very nearby France, with a lot of Mediterranean infusion. And then on the right you can see how we have the research phase of placing material and choosing colors, which is actually taking a lot of time. And we also push to make our own materials. So for example, we designed the fabric on the bottom, and then on the top part you have some wooden floor that we actually developed some specific colors with a dyeing company to have the good atmosphere that we really wanted to convey. And this is the end result.
So you can see here a lot of different pieces. We usually like to design everything, but this time we challenge ourselves to actually work with the collection of the Mobilier National, as Clément said. And so here's a mix and match of different pieces from different periods. And this was homework, I would say, that we wanted to go on with. So we also had the occasion to work with ceramists, with gallery, and to sometimes also like refresh some of the old design.
You can see how we implemented the idea of veiling objects.
So we wanted to have this narrative of this this character, let's say this Marcel Poulain character, that comes to this place and come with this sofa and unwrap it really easily, and then start to unveil bit by bit the different pieces that were there sleeping in this palace. And here is the reproduction of the tapestry. Actually, so as Clément said, the tapestry was held in an embassy, so we couldn't use it. So we had to actually work a bit with to get the authorization to do that. So we had to call like the descendant of this person that designed this tapestry to have the approval, and then we could replicate it. So we redraw all of the tapestry on our computer. And then we managed to print it on a special textile that was kind of see-through in terms of light-through, and that could have kind of unlight the space as well by its magnificent spirit.
We documented the research on a newspaper. Also, it was a way, for us it's very important that we have traces on the work we do. So we took a lot of pictures in the process, and we also wanted a document that would actually meet all the information. Also, archiving the work is quite important for us, because it's a way to actually process the project, that you create your own material in order to then go on in your design practice.
And as you can see, we're kind of old school, so we use this newspaper to get a bit in this mood too, to also be a nice object to give, to thank all the people that help us, because it's not only us, it's a lot of people working on the same project. And so this object of newspaper was really helpful to give a final gesture and to give a warm welcome to all the persons that help us to develop the project.
So we're going to proceed with the Balinese research. Everyone is okay? Not sleeping? It's okay? Okay.
A bit sleepy.
So we are going to introduce in the middle of the pictures that are from us, but also from the documentation team of the Balinese journey. For instance, here you have a jajanan, that is the sweets, the local, actually also sold, but we found amazing that the way they do it actually gives a lot of information on how it's cooked, and it's given to the person with this information. So we really like this idea of not having just the food, but also how it's made. And also we found very entertaining the way you de-wrap it.
So actually we went to see a lot of craftsmen, but the first image we show you is food, because this gesture of making this object, the dedication that is inside is also like a strong inspiration for us. Here is like also the making of the offerings. We could find offerings everywhere there, and we're really amazed by how they were made, by the composition that were made inside of those offerings. And now it's also evolving over the time, and you can find different ways of making those, and that you can see with this shift, but still this kind of preservation of what it was of those offerings that still goes on.
And what we found very interesting is not only the end result, but also to have the chance to see people making it with the hand. And this was also all the kind of ceremonials set up. So on the left you have the structures in bamboo that we found really interesting. In the first weekend that we were here, we had the chance to see a ceremony about a temple restoration that was blessed again. And also in the Balinese street, when we were going around in Sanur, we could see this kind of display on the right side, made with really like natural resources, but showing a lot of creativity. And also we loved the fact that it was fading away. So it was very fresh at first and very good looking, but also by the time passing, it was still very interesting and nice to see the material actually living, since you're using natural materials, that it's also a sustainable approach in some way.
And it's dying too. And I think I also like bounce back on what your dean used to say before about the spirituality of Bali. I think that in France we don't have this spiritual approach so much anymore, and so that was something that we really enjoyed there, and that we tried to get as much influence from that. That's why we also like quite keen on going to ceremonies.
So for example here it was a procession for going to this same temple in the first weekend. And we could also see the Hangda, so the kind of demon together with the barong.
And also with those umbrella.
Yeah, and all the objects related to the ceremonies were very interesting for us, because textile has actually meaning of protection, which was very nice for us, that everything was actually there for a reason. And it was a very good understanding of how Balinese do rituals and how they implement things and why. So this was very intriguing for us. Also the way that they use food on the right. So this is the barong procession. And we were really amazed by the use of like lentils and vegetables and dry things to make a gigantic structure out of food. We also saw, you will see in the video, some rice, sticky rice sculptures. And this was really nice to see all this thing of taking what's around to create beauty from a very simple approach and materiality.
We jumped to the barong we had the chance to visit a man that was building barongs, and we were also quite inspired by this protection, by the way it's like carried. And so it was very nice to be able to see also like the inside of the barong and how the structure was made, and also to get a bit more knowledge of how the barong used to be made in the past, how they are now. Is there something to keep from this evolution? Is there something to go back? So so we could see like all the step of process, and actually sometimes we like to showcase also what's not what you're not supposed to see, because there is also beauty in things that are hidden normally, and there is beauty in this for us.
And the more you add layers actually of decoration, the more you hide how it's made. And for us, it's really nice to reveal actually all these steps in the process of making.
So here is like the making of one of the masks, and we can see a postcard next to it. We were quite amazed by the capacity of people to also work with their foot. So we try to highlight it in the postcard that we have here, and also the pattern that we could find in a different design. So this is why we made this postcard like this.
And this is the Hangda Parasok fiber. So we also wanted to show you what we've seen there was the way it's actually drying on the right, and then as an ending result you have it put it on a cotton thread with a very nice gesture also. We were actually very interested in seeing the craftsmen that we went to visit in action. For us it was really important because when you see pictures, sometimes you don't have the full experience, and also as a designer, the good thing is sometimes to go beyond the scene and see some other angles. So that's why we always wanted to go on spot and see, because even if the techniques sometimes are reproduced in another way in France or elsewhere, the way they do it here, because of what they make with it, is always very interesting and very different.
So we also went to wire making. We were quite impressed by the tools, and we wanted to understand how they were made this way. So we also, like you will see in the video, we also try to use them as well to really capture the essence and how we can use them. And also, like, we were really impressed that a lot of people actually make their own tools or customize them to be the most efficient as possible. And this is something that is also very, very different from France, and that we try to highlight, I think, in our future research.
And it's displayed in the box that the wayang also used to put the puppet. The wayang maker used to display the wayang when he's making the show. And we love this shape with two metal handles. So this is why we display the postcard like this. And all the tools are colored because we wanted also to give this idea of the final outcome that has so many colors and vibration. Even though sometimes actually in Bali they show it behind a white curtain, so you can actually not see all the beautiful work of colors and only see the shadow. This was also something we were really interested in, so Kamasan painting, but still in the same kind of way we wanted to see the process of making.
So actually we heard of this guy that was like let's say scrubbing the canvas, and we get explained of how it was made, but we had like a very complexity to understand it. So we actually went to see the process of making the canvas, which is really very different from what we would expect and that we would see, especially using special tools, also special materials. Here you can see the lady covering it with covering the cotton with rice flour and water to give it a different texture and to make it stronger, I would say. And then the next slide you will see the way the canvas is being flattened using a shell, actually a shell that we didn't expect it would be a tool, but you can use it as a tool. And so we were quite impressed by the tension and the effort to make the canvas. Yes.
And we were also inspired by the living shell, so the fact that actually before it being used as a tool, you have someone living inside this shell. And the way it was covering the shell was really intriguing for us, but also actually inside the shell we could break one, which is the postcard on the right, as an illustration, and see the swirl within. So this is also our way of trying to see, okay, this is what you see at first, but how is it inside, and to have the curiosity of seeing beyond the scene. We also were really amazed by the sonket technique, so we went to see in Siedemann some people working on making sonkets. And we loved the loom, but also the way the body interacts with the machine to create the piece. So we had the chance to observe a woman weaving that you see here.
And we wanted to highlight the tools that we did in the postcard. And you can see here also like the use of different wood, different shapes, and which was a very strong inspiration for us. We were quite amazed by some species of wood that are very different from ours, let's say, that is very colorful, very rich, and they all have a different, let's say, characteristic, and they are all used for the characteristic, and we would like to get inspiration from that.
What you cannot see also is the way they make the pattern. So this is a step, for example, on the left, how they used to use fiber to make the pattern. One specific person would make it, and then they would actually go on with the weaving one, so with threads. But we love this combination of natural sticks and fibers together with textile. And on the right side, you can see this technique of sonket that has a thread going over the warp and weft, creating some patterns. We also were really interested in basketry. So for example, the work with Atta fiber that you can see here in zooming. And also here the tool they used to do it, and the relation for us was really close to needle and to thread, so it was like threading material. That was really interesting, and also the kind of connection they were making. So you have an object that is made only with one fiber, but actually has a different type of use. So in a 2D way, and then becoming a 3D object, and also used for connecting the pieces.
So there is a relation between strong and flexible flexibility, and it's something that we are quite interested by too, as well, as we work a lot with textile, but also with wood. So there's always a duality in between, like something soft, something hard, and that are also very important in our activity. Go ahead.
We were really amazed by the relation to water in the Balinese island. So the way that tirta is the word for sacred water. And in ceremony, you can see here that it's spread away to with a very simple tool sometimes of just having branches linked together, and the water is often contained into silver containers. So we also saw on the right side, this was our first ceremony when we arrived, with having a woman carrying water in containers. And we really wanted to see how it was made, again for the same reason. So we went to this craftsman making silver smiths.
It was really interesting to discover the tools, actually, to understand how the pieces were made, because some of them we really had like some struggle to understand how do they get to such level of details in such a narrow area. And so there was always like little tricks, and that you cannot really imagine unless before you see it. And we were really amazed by the tools, who also have some sort of spirituality, I would say, some souls. That we really loved. They are very characteristic, that are also made with special type of wood, local wood, and that each material used was necessary and had like Yes.
We were really interested in how the shape of the tool actually is linked to what they do. So for example, these hammers, we've never seen this kind of shape, and it's because you can see it in use. Actually, the shape of the ball make the hammer need to reach a specific point, and this is how the things are designed. We also are focused on architecture. So this is the kind of connection system within the houses we've been, but also we visited some traditional hotel in Sanur, made by Mad Wijaya on the left. And you can see also this kind of designing detail into the architecture. So this was really interesting for us to see under the architectures. And also in the next slides, you can see some roof. Yeah, that are really beautiful because also the way it's connected, it's a very nice detail also for us. Same using some natural materials. And on the left side, you also have a way to show the body within architecture. That is also something used in Balinese architecture. So these kind of pillars that are displaying.
They are cut in different elements. So there is one part that defines the ankles, the body, and the shoulders. And you can also find we really love to see also the pieces that were put on the top of the houses, like little hats. Everything is a character, and also houses are characters and have a soul.
And this is the last postcard we made. We had the chance to visit some very interesting houses and people. And for example, Nyoman Sadra, that we are quoting here, was very having a lot of tales to tell to us, and also this is a generation that has lived in Bali for some decades, and they have this experience of seeing the rituals and the things in a certain way that we find very enriching. So we were very lucky to meet this generation that is a kind of heritage of all this culture that is evolving every day. And so we wanted to highlight this very nice moment we had meeting this man.
There was also someone that was also asking himself the question why are things a specific way, and it's something that we also are very interested by, and it's a very strong focus to try to have an explanation for the thing we do, for where they are and how they are. And actually, this residency program was also very fed by the exchange we had, with craftsmen, the exchange we had with the team that was with us, and that really took us, let's say, by the hand and really explained us all the little details, the approach, and this is one of a strong factor, I would say, of the residency and of our research.
So this is the end for our presentation, and then you can see the video.
And if you have question after. First video, play video.
Bonjour,
we are Clemence
and Geoffrey.
from Studio Marcel Poulain.
We are honored to have been selected by Kush Gallery to be the third resident to come to Bali.
We can't wait to discover the island and its wonders as much as the Balinese arts, crafts and culture.
We're sure it's going to be an amazing experience.
marah sangat
The first thing that comes to our mind when we think about Bali was very fertile. There is this creativity a bit everywhere, in everyday life, in different scale.
The trip was very dense.
But also very exciting.
Yeah.
We wanted to see as much as possible, especially Clemence. She always wants to see more, and I'm trying to slow her down. We went to the house of people. We could find treasures everywhere, not only in the museum, but also in a very simple house, we could find beautiful things.
We were offered some jajanan. The envelope is as refined as what's inside, so there is a work on both the food you make, but also how do you actually wrap it and give it. Also in everyday gesture, actually things that seem super anodyne for Balinese people are actually very impressive for us because we don't do this kind of things anymore in Ukraine. Our practice is between textile and object and furnitures.
We like to create things that are comfortable, generous, that also invite the body to interact with.
I think we really focus on the gesture. We like to combine our skills about textile and object. So for example, taking a textile technique and then apply it to a hard material or
To make a shift,
Yeah.
to find another approach. Our chance to bring this new perspective.
We're actually thinking about trying to make our own tools and get inspiration directly from the craft. So now I think it's kind of the cooking time. If we can find a way to open this door of having an object that is telling the story of how it's made, would be a good topic for us.
Thank you. Let's give another applause for Clemence and Geoffrey. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. It's a really inspiring talk. Like, I personally learned a lot from you guys. It's like how wonderful it is to sometimes we overlooked the simple things around us, and they can show that even in the simple house they can learn something. They can put attention to the details and take it as an inspiration for product design, and that's really cool. Okay. Okay, so does anyone already have any questions for them? Okay.
Or Slim Aaron's poolside party. Also from the ergonomic and historic approach from 1977's aerospace Kwasokan. Then in Terence, your approaches are pretty much similar. From the ancient sarcophagus and the essential of containment that is historic yet essentials. Also in Traverse Jam, you are inspired by fields, if I could memorize it. That is also similar with the landscape and scenic approach from Full and V, Pool. And I'm pretty sure there are plenty more of
things surrounding you. So I think it's a very important part actually to implement all these things that you see, journeys, inspirations within what you do, because it's also your identity in some way. Am I answering your question or?
Is there anyone who wants to ask questions? Mbak Tata? No. Oh.
So, hello, my name is Oche from Product Design.
Color. So most of the places in architecture are covered with the powder of this stone that is giving this very orange atmosphere. And also the yellow is often very present because it's the color of the sun actually, so it's something that is infusing, also telling a story of sun and lighting the landscape and giving this warm atmosphere. So I think in Bali we saw so many colors, but actually what we are interested in at the moment, maybe it will change, but it's more about the natural colors of elements and also the natural dyes. The fact that there is so many fruits and barks that can be used to give colors to things. Actually, the funny thing is that sometimes it's giving a color that it's different from the color it has. So for example, I don't remember the name of the tree, but we had this bark that was orange, and when you bath it into water, it's turning pink. So also this kind of shading are very interesting for us.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next questions. Anyone have any questions again? Ya. Kalau bisa Inggris sih. Ada? Ada yang mau nanya? Oh.
Hi. Hi, my name is Keisha and I'm from a product design studio in year 2023. And today I want to ask about your research. I see that you learned a lot from Bali culture, and I feel like you might have some interest in one place, in one some kind of like there's a lot like basketry and what is that? Yeah, things that you learn in Bali. You must have like one interest, and do you really use it in your design? And do you ever face the difficulties in it? And how do you cope with the difficulties? Please share with us. Thank you.
Right now we are still in the research phase, so we didn't set up one track that we want to follow. So of course there are some places that we got really interested by, but right now it's more gathering more informations and more ingredients for us to have a very big picture of what Bali is before diving into the detail of making something a furniture or an object. But I think the difficulties, if I'm thinking about some other projects we made, are sometimes to find the good approach and the good way of telling the story you want to tell and find out what this story is. For us, we got an interest in the preservation of culture into Balinese island. And so we were interested to see things in this eye of how to help preserving all this craft and this knowledge. So maybe this is going to be the thread of what we do, but we didn't go yet into furniture making and drawing, because for now it's more having all this insight coming and finding a way then later on in the process to make it. For example, in the timeline, the sofa that we made, we got kind of 2 months to think about it and to see what we wanted to do. And it went to a lot of steps of what do we want to do, what do we want to tell, how are we going to make it, and how is it going to be designed. And so you have to go through all this process, I think. And when you're stuck, you have to step back and to find some answers in your research. This is why it's very important to have a research that is very big, even if you research about things that you're not going to use in the end, but because then you can really go back and take some informations that you thought would not be useful, but actually use them. And it's also important for us to still be open, to welcome any kind of nourishing things and not to get stuck onto one specific thing you want to explore, because sometimes it's also a way to, it's like when you are in a maze, sometimes you're just in front of a wall and then you have to take another path to contour it. So yeah, I think this is.
And we don't want to make so another design or something that doesn't really connect with Bali. So it's really a matter of really understanding what is the spirit of the place, what's the context. Also understanding where the materials, the one we can easily use, the one that are actually there but very complex, the one that are actually used for specific ceremonies, because we always want to be quite respectful to the place we work with. And so this is also like I think where we can meet sometimes difficulties is to make sure that our design is just, that is also answering the place and the context we work into. Thank you very much.
This. Oh yeah. Is there anyone who wants to ask any questions again? Oh, let me ask questions too. So the last question actually tickles me a bit, because yeah, there are challenges. I was about to ask the same thing, like I have no idea how to infuse the vibe into a product, and actually that's the challenge. You said that. So, and before that, you said that you have to keep the playfulness and the funness in making a product design. So, and it's actually hard for us students to do our projects or like final projects in a fun way. It's really hard for us. So I'm gonna ask, like, how do you manage to keep the fun, keep the playfulness in doing a design?
I think it comes also from the fact that we are two. So we do, our technique is a ping pong technique. So we throw an idea, we throw back. Sometimes we place a joke inside of this idea. We realize that this joke actually can have a meaning too, and we try to be also like we try to give also a good moment and a good spirit to the object we do. And we want to communicate as much as possible to people of different generation too. And that's why we use colors, and I think we use something that is shaped that are playful and that are welcoming. So it doesn't come to something that is like a high estate piece that is kind of like only for luxurious people or whatever. And we try to make something that that is kind of open to to people.
And I think actually when you don't have fun in a project, you can see when you have to present it, you don't have this enthusiasm of saying it. So I think anytime in the design process, we try to ask ourselves, would we like to have this thing next to us in our house or whatever? And is this thing bringing a type of joy or enlightenment? So every time I try to picture something I would be happy to wake up and see as a first thing. And this is actually helping to keep the vibe and the good energy out of it. And I think also sometimes when you're just within yourself, because I remember from being a student actually working on my own project that you don't realize sometimes that you need to talk to other people about what you do, because you realize then if you're connected to what you do or not. And if you're not, then you have to find another way to make something different that is really linked to your personality and your way of seeing things.
Yeah, that explains a lot. We need friends, guys. We need friends. We need friends, partners, and yeah, that's the first score. Okay. Any questions? From lecturer, maybe? Pak Tata looks like you, Bu Krisma. Let's go.
It's like ping pong.
Well, thank you. Thank you for Jeffrey and Clemens for sharing your journey in design process, and I really appreciate that you want to share precious moments of yours to us. And thank you for us who can learn about your giving attention to detail, your approach to art history research. And I'm glad that you learn from well-known project as Louis Vuitton luggage or suitcase, and it gives us inspiration that we can learn from our daily objects or from well-known objects. And it makes me wonder that your long journey design process, can you give a position right now that you can get maybe a project from Hermes, I don't know how to spell it, a window shop in Paris or in Dubai, I'm sorry, and many big project that you got from your design journey. Can you give us tips, or maybe can you share to us your long journey, how to get that big project or chance to our students here? Maybe you can share some information where we should start or where we have to start to get many experience as yours. Thank you.
Yeah. So the first thing we did was to go to this competition, and this was actually a chance because we got the opportunity to have a very nice display showing what we could do and people trusting us on exploring. It was actually one trigger we had in France, because so we studied in the Netherlands, and when we arrived in Paris, in France, there is this whole thing about you have to show white leg so that people can trust you. So this is a French idiom actually, but you have to really get the trust, and we were young by that time. And then we got the chance to be trusted by studios of interior design and architecture, people that would just trust us in doing things. And then by the time that we got this recognition of working in famous studios, we also set it up for ourselves the way we wanted to open our own studio. But then again, since you're young, people will always question what you do and why do you do it and how. And so this is also something that you have to set for yourself, that you have a story to tell and something that you're attached to. And then we also wanted every time to like plant seeds. So for instance, we wanted to first show what we could do in design. And then we got this opportunity to make another project that we could show how we scenograph a space, so how we implement also ways of showing the pieces, and this was actually something we did to seduce brands such as Hermès, because we knew they were coming to this festival and seeing things. So we tried every time to show something new, and actually projects are now coming to us, but we also still keep on looking for clients that we would like to contact. And I think every time it's a lot of energy, so you really have to always look for new things if things don't come to you, just to keep the creativity going. But I think it's you really have to have different projects, and then people will call you because they show something they liked in the project you made before. So it's also finding a way to have exposure, I would say. But it's a triggering thing. So it's also, I think we had luck. So probably we have talent that we don't want to we don't know, but it's also about energy that you put in the things. And I think if you're really willing to do something, then you just have to meet the right people that will trust to ensure a project and give you the opportunity to show what you want to do.
I would say it's a bit like fishing. I don't fish, but I imagine this of like first you have to catch a small fish, and then with this small fish you get a bit of a bigger fish, and it goes on like this. And this is our goal. So the small fish was first this room that was 10 square meters, and then we get to this a bit bigger room that is 20 square meters. Now people trust us to make apartments, and then once we finish an apartment, we hope to get something bigger, still in the scale that we enjoy. I think so. There will be like a maximum scale of in terms of space, and this is a bit how it goes. And so far, yes, as Clémence was saying, we get contacted, but it's also like try to research and try to be at the right place and meet the right people too. And so it's also like creating relationship also with people. We get lucky to be kind of selected by the Mobilier National. And so the Mobilier National is like it was a 1-year residency, but they also tell us that like you have been there, and so we are willing to help you for the rest of your history. And also like the same thing goes with other people that are in the same field of us, not designer, but like set designer, photographer, that decided to trust us also and to accompany us in this journey. And it's also like creating this relationship and try to push all of us together toward the same direction, and by like helping each other to go to the next level as well. So for example, the photographers, we knew that they were okay to help us, and we also like talking about them. So it's a lot of things about promoting also others and try to be promoted, and it's a bit like this as well.
I think you cannot underestimate the network, and this is starting where you are now. It's at school, because actually a lot of connections we had were people from our generation that at some point were friends of our friends or studying the same thing. And we got the chance we all want to make projects. At some point we have to also create things to have a portfolio so that people can trust you to work on some other things. And this is an important basement of how you spread, because you sometimes in some project you need to have the advice of someone specifically in a skill, or someone that has another eye. So for instance photography, but also architecture or music, or actually even food studies. I don't know, everything is very important, and this is what we learned in the Netherlands, that the approach is not only you make product design, so you're just into product references. It's, I think, really important to open to books, movies, whatever things that passionate you, because this is actually the thing that is going to make you different from others.
Next questions? Buinta, you want to ask?
Okay, thank you. It's a very insightful when you first your first presentation, I think, because I talked to her also. This this is designing with body with you. You know, you try to lay down and try to sit and yeah, whatever. I'm also studied in some aesthetic design also, so it's very important to us to know about how do you feel when you research the body with the product you lay down and sit or anything body movement. Yeah, we call this like a body deportment and somatic movement. Could you tell me more, please, about your experience with your body? Then how come out, or how do you transform your feel with the body to be a design? It's more, yeah. That's, I think it's very important because that's a part of user experiencing, I think. That's, thank you.
We always try the furniture we design. That's why we really want to be implemented in the process, because making mock-ups and trying things, you realize if it's shit design actually very quickly. So we really try to have this approach of involving the body. So if we design something that you have to take, we try it and we see, even if it's just in cardboard, but just to see if you would like to handle this thing, if it's practical. This is actually something we are very attached to, is to still have the function of design, that it's not just something that is nice furniture or art piece, but for us it's very important that the function is well set, and that it's something that you can actually use and enjoy. And this is also why for now we just made things that are comfortable, so couch or chairs or things that you can have a contact with and that you would feel like staying in. But it's also an approach that we are now trying to do in some other objects, always keeping in mind this thing of using it.
I mean, you can find in books a lot of right dimension, and but we always use our body as a first try. So we always experiment things like this, and this is also what pushed us to go beyond. And that's also our way to work, is to start building stuff a bit early, also in terms of with scrap material, just to have the right proportion, the right feeling of an object. And you can really see the difference with objects that you only draw that exist like this, that there is always like something that is missing, some user experience that is missing, I would say. So it's something which really push as much as possible.
Okay. When you move your body and feel the body touch or contact with the surface or product, there's any impulse from your mind, or or just the body just move and go. We just move and okay.
Yeah. Sorry. So we try to, we always experiment. We always use like other scrap to make it good, to make it comfortable. And we also like invite other people to use it as well, because we are not the only user, and people have different morphology. So the idea is always to be able to test it first with us, and then with other people as well, and really like adjust it, listen to the body, what it needs, where it needs more comfort, and it's also like sometimes just changing a little centimeter that do a big difference. So yeah.
So you always adjust it. Yeah. Okay.
This is why mock-up state is very important for us. For instance, you've seen the sofa. What was one issue for us at the beginning was that since we worked with the trunk, we would have this thing going over the head when the sofa was open. And so we found this solution of folding it with a textile hinge together with the workshop we were working with. And then it was giving more comfort, but we realized in the mock-up with the design that we made that we were not enough in the back. So this was the good thing about observing scale 1. I think it's really important. And then we could change it from prototype to prototype to make it really nice in the end. And also we tried a lot the thickness of the material we would put to seats in order to have the good proportion of weight, because you had to carry this sofa, but also comfort, because for us it was very important.
Okay. Thank you very much for your talk.
Okay, because we're running out of time, we're gonna wrap this up to one last question. But before that, I'd like to inform you, if you're super interested with their photography and want to see their exhibitions, there is an exhibition this evening at 7 p.m. at IFI Yogyakarta in Sagan. Okay, so one last question I would like to ask both of you. Do you have any piece of advice for us young designers here?
Just to make sure, so the photographies of tonight are made by the documentation team. So there is Nada, Felix Rio, and Vifik, and they were three amazing photographers that follow us all around and help us also to capture the essence of the trip, and also give also their point of view on what we have seen. As a
I would say that you have the chance to have a very living culture, and you should just take every day to see it and to understanding, because for me, all these ceremonies we've seen in Bali, we don't see anymore in France. This thing of having rituals is lost because people don't believe anymore in God, actually, and most of the people in France, they are towards new things and new technologies, and I think it's really nice to have this living culture every day around you that is not just pictures in books and that is actually performed. So yeah, I would just keep my eyes open every day to see these details, because it's very beautiful and super rich for your understanding of things and general insights.
I think it's also nice to go elsewhere to understand what you have also in your own country sometime, and have fun as well in all the process making, and always be playful and always be challenging to what you do, and have a direction to follow and an idea to give to your audience.
Yes, thank you. Let's give applause for Clemence and Geoffrey.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next to the next session, I welcome Bu Winta and Bu Surya to sign the implementation agreement of the event. You try to embrace the flexibility that's around you. Yes, let's give applause. Okay, for closing this design talk, let us take a group photo session, everyone. How do we sing? So we sit here. I think you just. Oh iya lupa. This is the real immersion. Where should I be? Okay. And lastly, before we close this design talk, I would like to welcome Clemence and Jeffrey to the stage again. We're gonna give you some souvenirs.
No, it's just like two. So, Clemence and Jeffrey, we would like to give like the lightest merchandise that we have. It's like the T-shirt, so you won't have any trouble in your package. And this is a representation of our new brand image of university. It's called Seru. It means like sustainable entrepreneurial research university, but it also a word for having fun, excitement, and celebration as your message in your presentation as well. So we have to be seru. Can you say that?
We have to be seru.
Yeah. So you will have white. Oh, wait a minute. This is the. Oh yes. Oh, this is for Clemens, and this is for Jeffrey. Thank you so much. Oh, maybe you can take it out and then. No, you don't have to wear it. It's just like that. Seru! Thank you so much, yeah. Okay, go back to Hannah. Where's? Say goodbye.
Okay, that's the end of our design talk. Thank you for attending.